A sister heartbroken after her brother disappears and dies without a name. Thanks for joining us at 6. I'm Brian Loftus.
I'm Denise Valdez. With her brother missing, she called hospitals all around the valley, giving his name and asking for any John Does.
She wouldn't find her brother until he was already dead. 8 News Now investigator David Charnes with her fight to change the law. David?
Well, imagine you can't find a family member for weeks, only to learn they died at a hospital you called searching for them. This woman says she did all the right things to find her brother, but she never got to say goodbye.
I could have been there for him to hold his hand. I could have at least been there. I could have called him by his name.
That name is Clifford Allen, but for nearly 2 weeks this summer, he didn't have one.
We were like best friends. He went with me everywhere.
Allen's sister, LaVon Brubeck, says she and her brother lived together for several years.
Kept trying to call him and his phone would go to voicemail.
It wasn't odd for the 60-year-old to leave for a couple of days, but July 16th was different. It was out of the ordinary that he wasn't picking up his phone.
Yeah, very much.
After the silence lasted too long, Brubeck, a retired nurse, became concerned.
I called every hospital in Las Vegas. Every hospital. I would ask for him by name, and being in nursing, I would say, do you have any John Does there?
By the time Brubeck found her brother, it was nearly the end of July. Clifford Allen was dead.
I didn't even get to hold his hand or even see him before he went to the coroner.
Brubeck would learn a few days after Allen left home. He collapsed here between two businesses near Lake Mead and Rainbow.
People saw him and nobody responded to that. It was 115 degrees that day and he was laying in full sun and nobody called it in.
In the 8 hours Brubeck says her brother lay there, someone stole his wallet, ID,
and his portable oxygen tank. I mean, they didn't even leave him with a player's card with his name on it. Nothing.
With a temperature of 106, paramedics brought Allen to Mountain View Hospital, one of the many Brubeck says she called over and over. And ultimately, they were saying we don't have any Clifford Allens and we don't have any John Does.
No John Does, no Clifford Allen. Oh, I can't speak to administration. I mean, everything was a no.
Brubeck was asking the hospital for the names Clifford Allen and John Doe. After her brother's death, she found out Mountain View gave her brother a real name. They called him Nolan Doe. A hospital spokesperson tells the 8 News Now investigators it's policy to name the unidentified.
Basically, he was in a coma, I guess, for the 10 days that he was there.
Allen would die alone in a hospital bed, even though her sister did everything she could to find him.
Instead of them saying sir or Nolan or whatever they were saying to him, I could have been saying to him, Cliffy, Clifford, wake up.
So we learned federal law prevents hospitals from releasing medical information, including people calling about unidentified patients, like the case you just heard. Ultimately, it was the coroner's office that positively identified Allen from a photo. We asked Mountain View about the case, and they sent us this statement. It says, in part, the hospital identifies anonymous patients with the last name of Doe, however, assigns different first names to prevent the merging of medical records. We work with our partners in the community to identify people who come in, and when it is possible, connect patients to family. Brubeck also filed a missing persons report with Metro. At the time, though, police had no record of her brother because he didn't have an ID on him. Metro did not come to the hospital to fingerprint the John Doe who was really Clifford Allen before his death. I'm David Charnes, 8 News Now.
And you can read Mountain View and Metro's full statements about their policies right now on 8newsnow.com. Now, we should also mention our investigators checked with 3 hospital associations about this naming policy. Not one had a comment to provide.